Happy Monday, everybody, or whatever day you're watching this. We're going to go through another budget deck video. This is going to be well below 5,000 dust this turn. This is also going to be bronze to gold, last 7 days. It's going to be all regions, and we have a couple of decks that you should be able to win some games, which is awesome considering that's probably why you're here. You want to win games. Win rates, let's go into it really fast. Paladin, Hunter, Warlock, Warrior. Warrior didn't die. That nerf to Brand didn't kill Warrior, and it's still doing fine. Death Knight's in a wonky position. There is some decks that are available, but either you're playing something with 0 dust requirements or 19,000 dust requirements, and it's at 49.3%. Priest, Mage, and Druid aren't doing spectacularly well. That doesn't mean that they're out of it, because like we talk about, I feel like a broken record sometimes. Every class has a deck that you should be able to be playing. And then Demon Hunter and Shaman. Shaman is hurt bad. Nature Shaman is just, it's not there anymore. It's not around. In some quick thoughts here, I think Mage is going to be even more powerful as we go through. Vicious Syndicate put a report, I will leave a link in the description below, that's saying Mage is going very well for High Legend. So we will talk about a Mage deck. I do have a Mage deck for you. But first, let's get into some of the class data. And listen, we're looking at Death Knight, like I said. Death Knight is good. Death Knight has potential here, but it's also super expensive for a budget class. The only thing you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to mess around with Unholy, but the problem with Unholy is it's 45% right now, so that's not crazy. Wouldn't suggest that. Demon Hunter, we have Shopper Demon Hunter. We're going to talk about Shopper Demon Hunter. Druid has a couple options: Dragon, Highlander, Hybrid. It has Treant Druid as well. Treant, I think, will be more powerful as we see the meta continue to unfold. And remember, probably in a few weeks now, probably by like July 15th, yeah, we're going to see the new set at least announced. I would say probably in the next 3 weeks or so, we should talk about the new set being announced and go from there. Let's see, Hunter. Hunter's strong. Hunter's strong, even though don't let the thing that says popularity fool you. Hunter's being played a lot because Spell Token Hunter is the name of the game, and we're going to talk about that deck. Okay, Mage is Spell Mage. Spell Mage, Spell Mage, Spell Mage. That's what you want to talk about. 57.9%. And then Elemental Mage is right there. We're going to talk, we just talked about Spell Mage last week. We're going to talk about Elemental Mage this week. And then Paladin, listen, broken record as well. Flood, Hand Buff, Highlander. Pick 3, pick any one of those, you'll win games. It's an inevitability. Even though we had that that nerf to Showdown, it's not doing anything major to Flood Paladin. It's still super strong. Priest has Highlander and Zarimi. I've not seen one Highlander Priest deck being played at all, which is kind of funny because it's saying it's got 13,000 games. Thank you again to hsreplay.net for having such awesome data. And then Rogue is just Miracle or Mining. Take your pick, but I don't see a lot of Rogue as well. Wishing Rogue, it was doing good, and then just for some reason it's just bye-bye, not there anymore. Let's see, Shaman, like I said, Nature Shaman is not as good as it used to be. Elemental Shaman is not as good as it used to be. Highlander is a thing, but Highlander, for the budget player, is not great right now. So, Warlock, listen, we have almost everything's good for Warlock. Pain, Sludge, Mining, Insanity, you name it, Warlock is really good. And then, like I said, with Warrior, Highlander Warrior did not die. It took a little bit of a hit, but its win rates are not going down that drastically. It's still at 60%. And then Control Warrior is there as well. It's a little bit of an expensive deck, but aren't all Warrior decks expensive? I don't think we've had a cheap Warrior deck in a long time, maybe a Control one like a month ago, and it didn't last that long. Okay, so we have 4 decks for you, okay? The first deck we're going to talk about today is Elemental Mage. This is at 1,240 dust, and this is at a 60.1% win rate. And it is exactly what you think it is. Very, very easy to pilot with this. It's elementals. So elemental synergy is the name of the game. There's a couple of spells in here, but the main goal is just playing elementals. So listen, first up, you got Firefly. Add a 1/2 elemental to your hand. You want to play elementals. Flame Geyser is a fire spell that also gives you an elemental. So hey, are you sensing the trend yet? We're going to keep on going this way, okay? Glacial Shard, freeze an enemy. This helps when you have a pesky minion on your opponent's board and you want to just hold on to it, make sure it doesn't hit you in the face, because your face would get hurt. If it hits you in the face, you could just freeze it, and this one comes with 2 of that card. Synthesize. Add a random 1, 2, and 3 cost elemental to your hand. Are you picking up what the elemental mage is putting down? Yes, you're going to be playing elementals with this. Aqua Archivist. This battle cry is your next elemental you play, costs 2 less. This is good. You want to go ahead and have 2 less cost elementals in your hand that you can play. Flame Revenant. After you summon an elemental, give it +1/+1. A lot of synergy there. Okay, so you can make this pretty hefty because a lot of your cards, a lot of your elementals are very low cost. So with the Aqua Archivist and this going down and a couple little one mana cards, you could do some good damage here. So this one here, Rolling Stone, you got 2 of this as well. The Battle Cry. If the last card you played cost 1, gain +1/+1. That's easy to do. You have a bunch of them. You have a bunch of those 1 cost cards. You'll be able to do that easily. Shale Spider. Battle Cry. If you played an elemental last turn, draw a card. So this is some card draw here. You'll want that. Molten Rune. Forge. Make sure you forge this so you can deal 3 damage and then get a random spell, and then this costs twice. So there's some spells that you could put into your deck because you don't have a lot with this deck. Fireball. Deal 6 damage. You know what the fireball is gonna do. It's to kill a minion or hit your opponent in the face. One of those 2. Overflow Surger. Summon a copy of this for each turn in a row you've played an elemental. So if you do things right, you'll have a full board of these. Easy peasy. Triple Wick Trickster. I couldn't see that for a second there. Battle Cry. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy 3 times. That's great value for a 4 mana 2/3, and you have 2 of them in your deck. And then Unchained Gladiator, Battle Cry. Draw a card. Repeat for each elemental you played last turn. So if you need card draw, you don't have a lot of cards in your hand, you can go ahead and pop out 2 or 3 of these, and you will go ahead and grab a bunch of cards, okay? Next up, Sleet Skater. This one was really popular when it came out. Miniaturize, Battlecry, freeze an enemy minion, gain armor equal to its attack. So save this, plus the Miniaturize. Save this for the big minions that you need to go ahead and you need to stop you from hitting them in the face. This will help also get some armor back. And then Tainted Remnant is the last thing we're going to talk about. Battlecry. If you played an elemental last turn, deal 7 damage randomly split between all enemies. If you are not playing an elemental the turn before you play Tainted Remnant, you're playing this deck wrong, or you're not playing this deck at all. Okay? It's a fun deck. It's very easy to pilot. You just mulligan for the low-cost cards and you keep on playing. You grab as much board control as possible, and then you kill your opponent's minions and then smack your opponent in the face. Blah, 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 yada, yada. Let's go over the next one. Next up, Hero Power Druid. Let's go over this. 1,560 dust with a 56.3% win rate. This deck is also easy to pilot. It's fun to pilot. It's fun to play this deck. I've played this deck many times now, and it's just fun to play. So the main goal of this deck is to get your hero power with the health and with the attack, as armor and the attack as much as possible. And you'll do some pretty cool things with those. So you have Lesser Jasper Spellstone. Talked about it before. Spellstones rock. Deal 2 damage to a minion, and the more armor you gain, you'll be able to upgrade this. You have 2 of them in deck. Magical Dollhouse. Gain spell damage this turn only. You're going to know why you want this, okay? And I'll explain in a few minutes. Malfurion's Gift. Discover a temporary Feral Rage, Wild Growth, or Snipe. Use it as needed. It's a utility card. It will be different what you use it for every scenario. So just keep it in your hand and just wait for the right time to use this. Peaceful Piper. Choose one. Draw a beast or discover one. Depends on what you need. It's situational. You want to get some beasts out of your out of your deck, go ahead and use it for that way. But if you need something, maybe you can discover one. Remember, it's random. You know how randomness goes. Blood Mage Thalnos, great card. 2 mana, 1/1, the spell damage, and then the Death Rattle is draw a card. So it helps you for 2 reasons. Bottomless Toy Chest, discover a card from your deck. If you have spell damage, copy it. So this is perfect. You have spell damage here. You have spell damage from the Dollhouse. You'll want to go ahead and create this. What you could be doing is creating Groovy Cats with this, Sing Along Buddy with this. It's discover a card, so it's going to be anything, but there's a lot of opportunities there. Okay. Celestial Projectionist. Choose a friendly minion, add a temporary copy of it to your hand. Remember, temporary. Temporary means that at the end of your turn it disappears. So make sure you have enough mana to play that temporary copy before you're using this. And one of the things that you should be using this with is Groovy Cat. The battle cry in Death Rattle is your hero power gives your hero 1 more attack this game. You want to be able to do that multiple times. You can also sit there and you could do Popular Pixie. Choose one, refresh your hero power, or your next one costs 0. So what's better than a hero power that's going to give you extra? A hero power that costs 0 that's going to give you extra. Sing Along Buddy, your hero power triggers twice. So if you have something very good with Groovy Cat that's major armor go higher, what's even better than that? You'll be able to trigger it twice and get double the fun. Frost Lotus Seething, draw 1 card, gain 5 armor, and it blossoms in 3 turns. Just leave it in your hand. Let it wait. Let it sit. Let it settle. And then use that for a much more powerful card. Swipe. We know what Swipe does. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. 1 damage to all other minions. Depends on what you're fighting. Remember, we're in the day and age right now with Hearthstone where there's some crazy boards on both sides. So use this sparingly. Spell damage would help you here as well. Zola the Gorgon. Choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy of it to your hand. Doesn't matter what the golden part is. You're trying to get one of those Celestial Projectionist, Groovy Cats, any of those that'll help your hero power, use that one right there. You've got Chia Drake. What does that do? We know what that does. It's a miniaturize, and it also has gain spell damage +1. That's to choose one or draw a spell. So depending on what you need, plus you get the miniaturize, so you'll get the little 1/1 version of it. It's all based on what you need at the time. Spread the word. Draw 2 cards. Cost 1 less for each attack your hero has. Hopefully you have some attack that you've built up. So go ahead and use this. And then Woodland Wonder's the last one. Summon 2 1/5 beetles with taunt. Cost 3 less if you have spell damage. We know what Magical Dollhouse is for. We know what Blood Mage Thalnos is used for. This is for spell damage. So you can use that as ward and keep your board a little bit protected from something smacking your face. There's a lot of options here that you can do with this deck. Matchups, Death Knights. You're not going to win with Death Knights too much. Spell Token Hunter, we're going to talk about that. You're going to get smoked. But Spell Mage has been very popular right now, and it's got a high win rate against Spell Mage. Only because you'll be able to put some stuff on the board, and the things that you put on the board are a little bit rinky-dinky, so while the Mage is going after your minions, you'll be able to create some crazy attacks and just kill your opponent that way. Next up, we're going to talk about Spell Token Hunter. And Spell Token Hunter is 2,080 dust. It's got a 69.6% win rate. And the cards in here are very, very easy to pilot. This deck is not difficult as well. If you're just starting out, it's pretty good. And all of these decks that I'm talking about today are below 3,000 dust. We usually do below 5,000 dust, but this one's even cheaper this week. So Awakening Tremors is your first card. Get 3 3/1 worms, and they cost 1. We're going to want this. We're going to want those beasts to be able to fight, to be able to protect, to be able to have board control. So this is a good deck. Bunch of bananas. Give a minion +1/+1. You have multiple of these. You can use up to 4 bananas here. So it's a bunch of bananas. Sneaky Snakes. Summon 2 1/1 snakes with stealth. You know what this is for. It's for board presence and for you to be able to potentially use those bananas, what have you. Thornmantle Musician. Finale. The next beast you summon gets +1/+1. There's some beasts in here, but it's not a ton of beasts, so you should know exactly what you're pulling with this. Vicious Slither Spear. After you cast a spell, gain +1 attack until your next turn. It's great that this is a 1/3. I would say that this is one of the cards that you should be playing first early couple of turns, because the spells that you have in this deck are pretty low, and you'll be able to do multiple of those at the same type of turn. Barrel Monkeys, summon a 1/4 monkey with taunt. This is another one, you have 4 uses of it, and a 1/4 monkey on the board early turns is amazing. Jungle Gym, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, repeat for each friendly beast. That's why you have those low cost Awakening Tremor cards, and you have the Sneaky Snakes. You have the Vicious Slither Spirits. Easy to put stuff on board. You have a big board full of, small minions regardless. You're going to deal a lot of damage with just this right there. Jungle Gym, you have 2 of them, so you'll be able to do that twice. Observer of Mists. After you summon a minion with more attack than this, give a friendly minion's +1 attack. You'll be able to kind of do that. There's a couple of options there, especially with Awakening Tremors. That's going to do some fun stuff with that Observer of Myths. So it's a great card, one that you should remember, that you want to put this out with minions that have, that when you have more minions to throw out on board. Don't just throw that and let it get killed 1 turn. Patchwork Pals, get all 3 animal companions and they cost 1 less. This will be helpful for you. We want to put minions on board. Remote Control, after your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 hound. This works well with anything. You want to put a lot of stuff on board. This helps you do it. The damage on this is not the reason for it. It's a 1/3. You could use it 3 times. The idea is putting things on board. Ball of Spiders. Summon 3 1/1 web spinners with Death Rattle. Get a random beast. Some of these times that you're getting these random beasts, it's going to be crazy broken stuff that you can absolutely use. This is also great that there's 3 of them. Kill Command. Deal 3 damage. If you can control a beast, deal 5 damage instead. You're going to have a beast on board. It's a foregone conclusion. RC Rampage. We know what this does. Summon 6 1/1 hounds. Any that can't fit, give the others +1/+1. You could do some nutty stuff with this. You could do some nutty stuff with Observer of Myths. There's a lot of things that you can do with this card. Okay, Barak Kodobane. Draw 1, 2, and 3 cost spells. This will help you get spells out as early as you can if you do not have any in your hand. So remember that. Leroy Jenkins, Charge and Battle Cry. Summon 2 1/1 whelps for your opponent. You know what Leroy does. You know what Leroy is supposed to do. Use that for the end turns. Use that to kill something that you need to kill pretty quickly. Leroy's very good utility. And then Mantle Shaper's the last one. Last we're going to talk about costs 1 less for each spell you've cast while holding this. So if you have this, you'll be able to, within a couple of turns, have this costing you next to nothing. So give this one a shot. Let me know what you think. I think the strongest deck right now is probably this one. I looked through all of the lists, and it's like 69.6%. This will win you games. Last up for the week, Shopper Demon Hunter. This deck is 2,520 dust with a 56% win rate. The popularity is waning on this deck. I do think it's pretty strong. I do think it's helpful for those that do not play a lot of Demon Hunter to play this. Its win rate is going down a little bit, but I like the idea that it's still there. It's still viable. It's still 56%. It's not a 50.1% or a 51%. And it'll win you some games. It's low cost, 2,520 dust. Through the Fell and Flames is give a minion rush. If you use it at any time where that's the last thing you're using, it'll be +1/+1. You'll want to use that. With the +1/+1, if at all possible, you have Burning Heart. Deal 2 damage to a minion if it survives, gives your hero +3 attack this turn. We want attack. We like attack. We want attack all the time. Illidari Studies, discover an outcast card. Your next one costs 1 less. This is perfect. You can use this to grab an outcast card and it'll be cheaper. Miracle Salesman. What deck is this not in? It's in every deck. You know what it's for. You're going to go ahead and try to get that tradable snake oil that you can trade for in case you need something. Taste of Chaos. Deal 2 damage to a minion, and the finale is discover a fell spell. This will put more fell spells in your deck. It's perfect. Bartendo Bot. Discover. Draw an outcast card and slide it to the left side of your hand. Not only is this looking for that outcast card, but it also makes it ready to put right now, right then and there. And there's going to be some cards that you want to use as the outcast cards. I'll show you. Greedy Partner. If you're holding another 2-cost card, get a coin. A lot of the cards in this deck is 2 costs, so you should be easy to do that. You need coins, so you can play extra cards. 2 mana instrument tech. This is to draw a weapon. We want to draw weapons here as well. Saloon Brewmaster. So return a friendly minion to your hand, give it +2/+2. I'll explain to you exactly why you want to use Saloon Brewmaster, what specifically for. Wayward Sage is an outcast. Reduce the cost of the left and right has cards in your hand by 1. We like this. We like this being able to have lower cost cards. Ball Hog. I just talked about this in another video. It's a 4 mana 3/3 lifesteal. Battle Cry and Death Rattle. Deal 3 damage to the lowest health enemy. This helps you potentially clear something. This also gives you a little bit more health if you need it, and you usually will need it. Let's see. Raging Fell Screamer. The next demon you play costs 2 less. We'll go over which ones you want to play. Umpire's Graft. Draw a demon and reduce its cost by 2. So, the instrument check is going to grab you the Umpire's Grasp. The Umpire's Grasp is what you want to be playing as quickly as possible to start messing around with this demon. Window Shopper. It's a 5 mana 6/5. We know what this does. It's got miniaturized, so you'll get a 1 mana 1/1 in your hand as well. Discover a demon, set its stats and cost to this minions. You want to be doing so many things with this. You want to have that Magtheridon card. There's a bunch of cards that you want, some that are going to be strong. You're not worried about what it's going to be. I would use effects that are not specifically direct damage or health or what have you. You just want to do some fun stuff with this. And then you use this for Saloon Brewmaster, so you can go ahead and you can return it to your hand and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And then another one you can mess around with. Rush, Outcast, summon a copy of this. 2 6 mana 6/6 on board is amazing. You can go ahead and throw that out again with Saloon Brewmaster. You're going to build a strong deck and then just hit your opponent in the face multiple times. That's all we have for the decks this week. Let me know your thoughts of these decks. Thanks again to hsreplay.net for all of this valuable information. I'm excited to see what happens in the next few weeks. We're going to talk about new cards soon. We're going to see some new expansions soon. The meta is not getting stale in my opinion, but I don't see a lot of decks being majorly changed in the next few weeks. So we're going to do what we normally do during those times, and we're going to make do with what we have. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video.